Hi, welcome to Naptime Nutrition. I'm Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian, nutritionist, and owner of Baby Bloom Nutrition and Toddler Test Kitchen. And with me today as my special guest is Daniel, who should be napping and isn't, and instead is drawing planes next to me. But you know what? I'm here and I've got my awesome smoothie cup. And we're going to talk about smoothies. And this cup was a gift from Sarah Schilling of Schilling Designs, and I will put the link to her business in the comments. She makes the most awesome cups. So smoothies and blended soups, food fad or solid nutrition. This is a really big thing. The smoothie thing has been going on for a long time, and we've been told that the next big food fad is blended soups. Okay. Whatever it is, there's always something going on, right? So you saw I'm drinking a smoothie. If you were at Toddler Test Kitchen on Sunday, then you met Stephanie Lucas of the Give Garden, and she had her blender bike, and we had a great time with the adults powering the bike to make smoothies for their kids, and it was really a lot of fun. But that was not the only thing we made, and I will get into why as this child steals my smoothie. So people like smoothies and soups for that matter because they're easy, tasty, and packed with nutrition. But the question is, are they packed with nutrition, or does the blending process and the cooking process really destroy a lot of that nutrition? And this is something that comes up pretty often. So here are the main concerns. The big question that I get most often about smoothies is about the sugar content. And this is a good question because a lot of times we see this information on how your small-sized Jamba Juice smoothie has 76 grams of carbohydrates, 71 of which are sugar. How can you have 71 grams of sugar in one drink, which is smaller than this, actually? And is this a bad thing, given the recommendations? So here's the thing, with all the recommendations, you take it with a grain of salt. The way these recommendations came about is, well, that's a whole other story. I'm not gonna get into that. It's very, very political. So the thing is that smoothies vary greatly depending on where they were made, how they were made, and obviously the ingredients. If you make something at home, you're more likely to use frozen fruit or fresh fruit and ice and some kind of base such as orange juice or milk or an alternative milk or yogurt. And when you buy them at the store, there are most often going to be some fillers in there as well. And you do have some added sugar in the form, not necessarily of sugar specifically, but orange juice concentrate or another kind of juice concentrate. So which is best? Is it okay to buy a smoothie at the store? Well, it's always okay. It depends on what your goals are. Is your goal to have something tasty and refreshing on a hot day? Then either a homemade smoothie or the store-bought one is going to meet your needs. If you are including a smoothie in the beginning half of the day in order to increase your energy and to keep you in an overall well-being feeling throughout the day, then you're going to use different ingredients at home, and that's going to work better for you in that circumstance. So it also has to do with the balance. You always want to have a smoothie that has fat and protein with it, either in the smoothie or on the side. So how can you add that to your smoothie? You can add a quarter of an avocado and not change the taste at all. It increases a bit of a smooth texture, which is a pleasant thing, and you don't taste it at all. You can include more avocado if you want. I prefer my avocado to come in the form of guacamole, so that's my thing. You can add yogurt, which is going to have protein and fat, nuts, which are also going to have protein and fat, flax meal or flax oil, tofu. You can add a quarter of a block of tofu, soft tofu, and it's not going to change the texture or the taste, but it is going to increase your calcium, which a lot of people don't know, as well as your protein. And you can also add nut butters like peanut butter, which is technically a legume. Well, I think that's pretty common knowledge at this point, but you can add that all to your smoothie, or you can choose to have a nice piece of toast with some peanut butter on it on the side, and there's benefit to that as well. So fiber, is there the same amount of fiber in a smoothie as there would be if you just had those foods in their whole form? So the fiber amount is the same, The blending action does change the fiber a little bit. So it's going to be absorbed, it's going to be digested and absorbed faster, which means you're going to get hungry faster, which is another reason you may want to consider having that toast with peanut butter on the side rather than adding the peanut butter in the smoothie. Or do both, whatever your thing is. But the fiber is not destroyed in the process of either making a blended soup or making a smoothie. So it's important to know that there is a misconception that the blending process destroys the fiber. You still have that same amount of fiber. Your food will digest and absorb faster, which means it's not going to stick to your ribs, quote unquote, so to speak, as long, but it is going to have that same beneficial effect when it gets to your intestines. You still are going to get that cholesterol lowering process that soluble fiber brings about. You're still going to get the gastrointestinal benefits of having that amount of fiber in your smoothie, whether it's blended or if you have a gigantic salad. And I see Dr. Vitar has joined us. Thank you so much for watching, Dr. Vitar. It's always fun to see your face pop up. So vitamins, Dr. Vitar says, very nice talk, thank you. Oh, yay, look, I can even show that. Dr. Vitar is a pediatrician in the Phoenix area with an at-home practice, meaning she comes to you. So if you want to find out more about that, I will put up the link as well as a thank you for watching. So as far as vitamins, okay, vitamins are dramatic. I used to say they're kind of like teenage girls. Anything happens and they just freak out. I also say that about kidneys, by the way. Whole other topic. So here's the thing. Yeah, it's best to have vitamins fresh. It's best to somehow swallow them without any processing at all, because vitamin C in particular is very dramatic. Anything happens and it's just running for the hills, right? So should you swallow your oranges whole rather than blending them? No, that's not going to be comfortable for you, for your throat all the way down through your digestive tract. When you cut an orange, you lose vitamins. When you chew on an orange, you lose vitamins. But when you're having a blended soup or a smoothie, the amount of vitamins that you're taking in vastly outweighs that effect of the vitamin destruction in the process. I'm going to say that again a little bit simpler. You're taking in a lot of vitamins when you take in a smoothie or a soup. And so that outweighs it. The benefit is greater than the risk. And if you're having something that's delicious and you're enjoying it, that also helps. So it's not really a concern about the vitamin destruction when you have a smoothie or when you have when you're having a soup. What you do want to take into account, though, is if you are trying to improve your health with smoothies, you may want to stick with an at-home one because you're going to consume it closer to when it was blended, as opposed to the store one, which could have been sitting there for a couple of weeks. That's going to have a little bit less nutrition than what you're going to be making at home and consuming more immediately. And the same goes with juicing. If you are doing some kind of juicing at home, then you do want to consume it as close to the time that you juiced it as possible in order to keep as many micronutrients intact and effective as possible. Quicker absorption. I mentioned that you do break down the fiber just a little bit, not eliminate it, but break it down a little bit, and that causes quicker absorption. So you want to balance that by having it with a whole food. I mentioned at Toddler Test Kitchen we made smoothies on Sunday, and that was really fun having Stephanie there with her blender bike. But we had a Peruvian quinoa salad along with the smoothie. So the smoothie was actually berries, yogurt, and pineapple orange juice, which was really tasty. Okay, I forgot my spinach at home. I usually would add spinach to that, and the box was sitting on my counter during class, which was very, very effective, right? So here's the thing. You want to have a whole food alongside it to slow down that absorption. Because if you're having a smoothie for breakfast, you want that to last until your next snack or meal. And smoothies notoriously, as well as blended soups, they're just digested and absorbed very quickly. So having it with something, you know, if you're having a soup, you're going to have it with dinner. The soup isn't dinner, it's alongside dinner. Even if you just have a side salad with it, or you have a potato with it or something, that's just going to help slow down the effect a little bit so that you can feel satisfied with your meal for longer. And that's the goal, you know, especially with the mom life, right? Hashtag mom life. You don't want to be getting hungry an hour after you had your breakfast. So just pair it with something. Have a hard-boiled egg with it, or a piece of toast with peanut butter, something to offset that effect. You smoothie stealer. Okay, there was a concern for the lack of chewing. You don't need to chew on a smoothie, right? Well, a smoothie made the right way anyway, if your Vitamix is working. And when the act of chewing helps to release amylase, which is an enzyme in your saliva, and that's going to kickstart digestion. When we skip the chewing step and go straight to the digestion, which you do with a smoothie or a blended soup, you do reduce that effect, and it's a valuable effect. So you do want that amylase as part of your digestion. But if you're having a smoothie, you're not having a smoothie for every meal. Maybe, I mean, God forbid, maybe you just had surgery and you need to be on a full liquid diet, and then maybe you are, but that's a short amount of time. That's not something that someone outside of a medical necessity would want to do, because we do want the effect from the saliva. So that's another reason to have a variety of different textures in your nutrition plan throughout the day. Okay, serving size. In my notes, I wrote next to it, blah, blah, because what I want to say about serving size is that if you are to buy a pre-bought smoothie, you want to look at the serving size to see how many servings are in that bottle. The only reason I would advocate looking at serving sizes and even looking at the nutrition facts label beyond the ingredient list is if you're a diabetic who needs to calculate insulin dosing, you want to notice how many servings are in that bottle, because it may be a bottle this big and have 2 or 3 servings in it, and it can be very misleading. The other thing I want to say about the nutrition facts label is that it is also very political. Why would a small bottle have 2 to 3 servings in it? Because they want the numbers to look pretty. They want that sugar number to be lower. They want the protein number to be a round number. Who knows? But there's a lot more that goes into creating the nutrition facts label and deciding on a serving size that is much more on the political side of things. So it's much better to just look at the ingredient list unless you have a medical need to look at the nutrition facts label to see the amount of carbohydrates or potassium, for example. So here are your tips. Include veggies. When you're making a smoothie, include veggies. It's very easy to just throw in a couple handfuls of spinach or kale, and they blend very well. They have very, very little very, very little taste, and can blend very well with pretty much anything. But I posted a link a little bit ago on different ways to include vegetables in smoothies, and I love that link because it gave the vegetable, it said how to add it and what to pair with it and what it's going to taste like. It had some interesting ideas that I hadn't discussed, I hadn't thought of, like tomato. I never thought of putting tomato in a smoothie, but according to this article, it pairs well with citrus and it lends its flavor nicely. Most vegetables really won't take over the smoothie, but beets was on that list, and beets they do have a very strong and distinct flavor. So you want to pair those appropriately. So tomatoes, beets, sweet potato, pumpkin, squash, these things are very mild flavored, and if you pair it with some strongly flavored berries, which are coming in season now, that's a fantastic idea. Also jicama. I prefer my jicama on the side with my guacamole that's on the side. But if you wanted to add something a little new to your smoothie, you can try jicama. Spirulina is a great addition. Sunchokes, cabbage, which will blend well. Snow peas and zucchini, all of these, maybe not at the same time, but all of these are great additions to your smoothie. If you are trying to use a smoothie or a soup in order to sneak nutrition in for your kids, the best way to go about that is to include them in the cooking process. You want your kids to see what they're eating and enjoying, because when they move past this point where they're choosing their own foods, they will know, hey, I really liked having spinach in my smoothie, or hey, zucchini tastes really good in a smoothie. Please don't write on that. Over here. Balance. You want to balance it out. You want to have some fruits and some vegetables. You want your fiber. You want your protein. You want your fat. I mean, when we're talking about soups and smoothies, the fiber is not really the issue, but you want fat and protein along with it. Keep it reasonable. You don't want to have a smoothie every meal of the day. It's not going to be appetizing, and it's not great for your digestion either. So keep it a reasonable size. This is a pretty big cup, but you can see I'm sharing it with the little man here. Whether I wanted to share that or not, that's a different question. Pair it with a whole food, pair it with toast with peanut butter, pair it with a hard-boiled egg, pair it with a bowl of oatmeal, something that's going to help keep that nutrition sustainable for a longer amount of time so you're not constantly searching for a snack. And examine the label. What's your purpose in having the smoothie? Is it for something fresh and delicious, or is it for something that's going to give back to you nutritionally throughout the day? And that's how you're going to know how to proceed with that. There's always a place for different types of food in your diet, and I'm not going to say don't have those smoothies at the store. If you're looking for something tasty, go for it. Also look out for those smoothie base. You don't know what's in that, and the ingredient list can really hide all manner of evils. So look at the, and I shouldn't have said evil. I'm very against moralizing food, but it was more of an expression than anything. So you want to look at your purpose for having this as your nutrition and make sure that it's going to meet the needs that you have. If you have any questions or comments, please hit up the comments section. I'm going to post a few links there for you to check out, including the vegetable smoothie and Dr. Batar's information and Schilling Designs for awesome cups. And if you have any other questions or comments, you want to tell me what your favorite smoothie is and maybe what your least favorite smoothie is, that could be fun too. If you are local to the Phoenix area, please come hang out at Toddler Test Kitchen. I'm about to start up the class at Create at the Arizona Science Center. The dates are on my website at toddlertestkitchen.net or at Baby Bloom Nutrition on the Toddler Test Kitchen tab. And I do private and small group counseling, and if you're looking for a public speaker to come without a miniature cute distraction, I'm available for that as well. So feel free to email me, Yaffi at babybloomnutrition.com. I'm on Pinterest at pinterest.com/Yaffi, Y-A-F-F-I. And you are right here on Facebook, so come like my page and watch all the fun stuff that I post. And I'm also on Instagram, and my handle is babybloomnutr. So I will see you next week. I have something really exciting planned. I'll be interviewing Natalia Stasenko of Feeding Bites on speaking to your children about their food allergies in a way that is not enticing for them to try to sneak that food when you're not looking, causing a dangerous situation. So join me for that. Come with your questions, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, and see you next week right here on Baby Bloom Nutrition, Nap Time Nutrition, Toddler Test Kitchen. What else do I have going on? Arizona, 1:15 p.m., which is currently 1:15 p.m. on the West Coast and 4:15 p.m. on the East Coast. See you next week.